Welcome. Welcome to another episode Beyond the 9450. How was your day today, Shantae?
It was fine. It was long, but this week is going by super fast because Monday, is Memorial Day. So you blink and it's Thursday. Tomorrow's Friday. So I'm happy about that. My day wasn't too bad. How about yours?
A pretty long day today myself. Obviously, I am a homeschool mom or homeschooling parent, so that is always a task every day. Also, went to the dentist. I don't know about y'all, but I have a lot of anxiety when I go to the dentist. So that was an interesting thing today. But overall, doing well and happy to be doing another episode today. We got a lot to get into.
Yes, we do. But before we begin, we got to talk a little bit about SeatGeek. Now, this is a plug, okay? It's not shameless. It definitely is a plug. Brittany used SeatGeek this past week. Went to the Liberty game last night when they played Phoenix, Mercury. Saw a great game. So with that being said, we just felt like it was only right to provide y'all with some information so y'all could take advantage of these opportunities. So we got some exciting news to tell y'all. Keep it in 9450. Codename Women's Basketball, that's codename WBB, is now sponsored by SeatGeek. SeatGeek is the best way to buy tickets for concerts, sports, and more. Their app makes it so easy to find the best seats at the best prices. And because you've teamed up with SeatGeek, you can get up to $20 off your first purchase. Just use our promo code, the 9450. That's right, the 9450. Use it at checkout and save $20 on your first ticket purchase, whether you're heading to a WNBA game, concert, or any event. Geek has got you covered. So what are you waiting for? I just put you on to what Brittany just did. She saved money off her tickets. Why wouldn't you want to save money on some tickets? Download the SeatGeek app, find your event, and use the code the 9450 for $20 off. Thanks for supporting the show and happy ticket hunting with SeatGeek. So let's jump right into what we came here for. If you're new to this, my name is Chanteé. This is Brittany, two previous student athletes. Brittany played professionally, and now we're professionals in different realms. And we do the 94 Beyond the 9450 every week to talk about the business of sports. In particular, because it's WNBA season, that's what we're focused on. And so I think, Brittany's been really asking about the status of Unrivaled for the past few weeks. Brittany's been very consistent with asking on Twitter. Like, there was an announcement about it, a year or two ago from Brianna Stewart and Afisha Collier. And they were talking about starting a 3-on-3 women's basketball league, but we didn't know when it was going to launch. Everybody was super excited about it. Obviously we have the WNBA, we have Athletes Unlimited, which is, another opportunity or another league for women to make money and to play ball outside of WNBA season as an alternative to, obviously going overseas. So when Brittany and I heard that Brianna and Avisa was about to start Unrivaled, we were super excited, but it kind of went quiet for a while. And then today, Brianna Stewart and Nafisa, they make a huge announcement saying that it is scheduled to launch in January. And not to mention the highest average salary in women's sports history is going to be made in this tournament or in this league. It's been announced that these women are going to be making at minimum $100,000, which is the highest average salary in women's pro sports, which is, that's such a big step. I mean, if you haven't heard our podcast episode with the 9450, a few weeks back, we talked about the collective bargaining agreement for the WNBA. But we just talked about, the women's salaries, salary caps, and stuff like that. So if you don't know the WNBA as a rookie, you don't come in making $100,000. Right now, you're coming in making roughly $70,000 plus as a rookie. So, for Unrivaled to kind of set the tone with starting at $100,000 is amazing. And so, yeah, it's going to be a 3-on-3 league, and it is, excuse me, it will feature a compressed full court play style with 30 women being part of the inaugural season. The roster will be updated and shown later this year, I think in a few months. But there are several notable superstars that have signed on to be part of the rosters. What I think is cool is that the U.S. women's national team co-captain Alex Morgan leads a group of investors from across the sports world. She actually I think she founded Tribe Ventures, which is a major investor in this whole ordeal that really got off the ground. And with her and Tribe, they've been able to gain other investors such as Megan Rapinoe, NBA guard Steve Nash, Cleveland Cavaliers general manager Kobe Altman. We had Gino Auriemma of UConn, the head coach of UConn's women's basketball. We have Carmelo Anthony, we have Ashton Kutcher, we have Gary Vee, we have Tyus and Trey Jones. We have John Skipper and Meadowlark Media, John Skipper and David Levy, who are also going to be big investors in it and supporting Unrivaled. And it's important to note that they actually were ops at one point. And so David Levy is the former longtime president of Turner Networks, and Skipper is the former president of ESPN. And they've previously worked on creating together and created NBA broadcast packages for ESPN and TNT, but they've never really worked together. And so because of this opportunity with Unrivaled, they're able to work together and partner together to try to find the right distribution partners for Unrivaled, because they're going to be having they're trying to get 48 games across an 8-week span on television. So, it just seems like Brianna and Nafisa did it right. Like, they took their time and they've been making the proper moves. What's really, really key and what we really wanted to highlight is the fact that all 30 players that will be part of this league will receive equity in the league. That's super important. That's super important to point out because, like I mentioned earlier, not too long ago, we had talks about the CBA and the revenue sharing model that they have. And currently, the women are not able to really eat off of the revenue sharing model that's currently in place with WNBA, really because the WNBA hasn't profited enough for revenue sharing to be triggered. And so obviously we're in a space where ticket sales are out of control for the women's league. Sales with merch and everything else is up. Like, we got investors, we got endorsements, we got collaborations happening. We're seeing just everything skyrocket when it comes to women's basketball. And while we believe that this year the WNBA will be in one of the best positions possible for revenue sharing to be triggered, it's also amazing that this league, Unrivaled, their first thought was all 30 of these women deserve equity in this league. There will be an equity pool that will vest over a 4-year period. So obviously that incentivizes the players to stick around for the 4 years plus, so that they're able to gain equity in the league. The league is also slated to make history, like I mentioned, with giving these women $100,000, which is the highest average salary, like I just previously mentioned, in women's pro sports. It's also important to note in the NBA in 2022, every team owned 1/3 of NBA equity. And we just talked about the WNBA and its CBA and how the women haven't been able to really capitalize off of revenue sharing as of yet. Just wanted to highlight what Nafisa said. With the growing popularity of women's basketball in the WNBA, this is an opportunity for us to extend our visibility into the traditional basketball season. Brianna and I set out to create a league that would change the way women's sports are viewed and ultimately how sports leagues operate. We may have had the vision, but this just isn't our league. It belongs to the players, and the Unrivaled model reflects that. Brittany and I always talk about how these women have to go overseas a lot of the times to supplement their income during the off season. Really, after like come Octoberish, they'll have to find ways to make money. And again, we talked about Athletes Unlimited. This is just, another opportunity that these women can tap into so that they don't have to go overseas. Many of them have, families, they have other obligations. And, while they enjoy playing in Europe or anywhere else in the world, they obviously would like to play at home primarily. And that's something that Brianna Stewart has been very vocal about. She doesn't want Unrivaled to be viewed as a rival league to Athletes Unlimited and to the WNBA. She just wants it to be viewed as another option and another option that these women can tap into so that they're not stuck overseas or doing something or be in places they don't necessarily want to be, and they can stay home and have time and spend time with their family. So what I failed to mention is that this is a Miami-based league, and that right now they're going to be really leaning on the players for creating a larger social media presence, and that this obviously is going to allow players to continue to build their brands, their own personal brands during the off season, so that hopefully they can, catch and bring in more endorsements for their brand. But yeah, right now the league is looking to secure major sponsorship deals and media rights deals, and this is just a really exciting time. I think that this is right on time. Like I mentioned, a lot of people are just super excited about women's basketball right now. It's unprecedented in regards to viewership. And so this announcement is right on time. And I hope that we've been seeing the trickle down effect for a long time, from the NCAA, the viewership numbers, to now the WNBA. We're seeing it trickle down and fall into the WNBA's lap. And I'm hoping that the same thing remains true for Athletes Unlimited and then Unrivaled, that people continue to follow these players throughout the course of a whole year now.
I love that they have the opportunity now to kind of stay stateside. I'm really banking on the fact that 3-on-3 is kind of the purest form of basketball for me because people are consistently and constantly moving. Obviously, we've seen success with Ice Cube and how he's been able to grow the big three. So I'm really banking on them being able to grow this league. They have enough star power and obviously investor power now, after you just ran down the investor list, to grow this league. We're starting to see the rise of independent basketball leagues, right? Another basketball league, the basketball tournament, TBT. It's been around for 10 plus years now, and it's so much excitement for, fans from these different colleges who didn't get a chance to kind of, you know, compete for a national championship while they were in college. So now it's another run at it. So just very happy to hear that Unrivaled has come out the woodworks and we got some more information. I put out a tweet 4 days ago and we're here. So very happy to hear that we have updates.
Right. And I forgot to mention, we do have a special guest tonight. We got Brittany's daughter, aka Baby D. So if you hear a baby in the background or movement, that's Baby D. We love working moms. Okay. We support working moms here. I mean, it goes in line with what we just talked about. Okay. So shouts to Baby D, but yeah, shouts to Unrivaled. I'm super excited to see how this goes and to support. So moving on, I'm gonna talk a little bit about sneakers. So, this past week we've been seeing a lot of Jayson Tatum posts happening all along IG and Twitter, just talking about his sneakers. He collaborated with several WNBA players this past season in reference to his sneaker that he released. He let me see what he's been doing. In game 1 of the playoff season, the playoff Yeah, of the playoffs when he played against Indiana Pacers. He debuted the Atlanta Dream All-Star Ryan Howard's pink pair of sneakers, inspired by her love for bubblegum and reading poppin' since 2000 behind the tongue. And then he broke out the Chicago Scott Dana Evans two-tone pair, drafting from her favorite colors and featuring her own DE11 logo along the tongue. Then there was a pair of sneakers that he wore from Dream Guard Aerial Powers over Memorial Day weekend, inspired by her father Juan, who served in the military as a sergeant. The shoe incorporates a camo print and red accents throughout. Poor dad can be found on the lace and a nod to her father coaching her throughout her basketball jersey. And then Kia Nurse's pair plays up on her Auntie Kiki nickname, that's super cute, as a tribute to her nephews Jax and Aiden. And Dearica Hamby's Black, Orange, and Lavender edition is a tribute to some of her favorite tunnel fit tones, while also honoring her two children, Amaya, a legend, and Legend, through separate floral prints. And so I think that is really dope that we're seeing, and I think you mentioned this, Brittany, the cross between men and women's athletes more and more. It's happening more and more. We just saw Steph Curry and then Sabrina in the 3-point contest for the NBA. All-Star Weekend, we're seeing, even on the business side, Tisha Penicheiro and Ramon Sessions tag team and start On Time Agency. And then now, we're seeing Jayson Tatum, collaborate with several WNBA women's players to create their own PE sneaker. And, there's a lot of sneaker talk happening right now with the WNBA. We got the Sabrina ones, and then she debuted the twos at the start of the season. Aisha Wilson, she's gonna finally get her signature shoe. And then Caitlin Clark, she's getting her own signature shoe. Jewel Lloyd, she created a shoe with her best friend. So there's a lot of, sneaker talk, and it's just really dope to see the men support the women. And if you don't know, Jayson Tatum does have a sneaker, obviously, with the Jordan brand. And I would love to learn more or hear from him directly as to how he decided to go about collaborating with those women. I'm wondering if it was his idea or if it was somebody else on his team. But again, it's right on time. I mean, like I said, the WNBA is booming right now. And on top of that, it just makes sense to collaborate with WNBA players. And the sneakers are fire. The colorways are fire. I think more importantly, the stories we just told about how the colorways came about and the customization of each PE came about is more important. That lends to storytelling, that lends to marketability, that lends to people wanting to learn more about these women. So I think that's fire that they even ask like for them to like get crazy and get funky and to customize the sneaker how they saw fit. So this is dope, and I feel like Jayson Tatum's always on par for that. Like he's always on the money when it comes to doing something with the women in the WNBA. He's always shown support. So shouts to Jayson Tatum.
Yeah, it just seems like Jason Tatum gets it. Like he just, and I think that's because of his mom, maybe. His mom being a lawyer as well. Like she obviously, we all know that. Well, I'm not sure if everybody knows the story, but his mom essentially has told Jason Tatum that he's not going to use any of his NBA salary to obviously support his lifestyle. He uses endorsements to do that, and that was set up by his mom. So he's not touching that NBA salary money. That's going to other things, investments, and doing all that other stuff. So Jason Tatum gets it. And it's incredible to just kind of see the rise again of the cross marketing between the collaborations with the men and the women, right? We're seeing it more and more. Shantae's mentioned, obviously, Ramon Sessions and Tisha Penicheiro teaming up to, start On Time Agency. I'm going to say the commercials. Like we've seen Steph Curry on the CarMax commercials with Sue Bird, with Candace Parker, right? Like, yeah, we need more men shining the spotlight because y'all have bigger platforms. Okay.
Just the
So,
fact of the matter.
right. So I'm very interested just to see how this continues. I love this trend between the men and the women collaborating to effectively market themselves. Like you said, it's a great thing. And I think it's on time.
For sure. So shouts to Jayson Tatum. Interested to see who else he collaborates with his set with this signature shoe that he has. Moving on though, Alexis Morris. So if you don't know Alexis Morris, obviously she played at LSU. She was part of the team of the LSU team that won a national championship in 2023. She's gone on to, she was drafted in the WNBA. However, she now is a Harlem Globetrotter. And what's dope is she has signed a deal with N1 where she is going to be the first female ambassador for N1. I mean, a few episodes ago, I talked about how Dick's Sporting Goods is now collaborating with the WNBA to release a girls athletic line because they saw that there was a need and that there weren't a lot of brands, if not any brands, that just had, that solely had girl athletic wear. And so to see, and we talked about how and one, the only thing I thought about was and one. And one was a big deal when Brittany and I were growing up. Growing up in New York City, number one, and really appreciating hoops, like appreciating the culture that was part of basketball at the time, and also the merch. But on the N1 merch, there was never a woman. There was never a girl. You've never seen it. N1 was male dominated and male focused, but we still loved it. But yeah, growing up, there were no women's centric or female centric athletic gear companies. And so now we're seeing N1 start to tap into their female audience. And again, this is right on time with just how much women's basketball is growing. It just made sense for them to tap in and have a female ambassador to really market the N1 brand. And the senior vice president of marketing and brand development at N1 mentioned that Alexis' remarkable story aligned with N1 DNA, and that when they met her energy was infectious. They knew that she'd be a great role model for young women interested in basketball, and they're really excited to share her story throughout the world. And Alexis Morris is going to be taking part in a lot of community events, which is right on brand for N1, because that's where we would see it all the time. I mean, the players would come to the hood, they would come to Rucker Park, they would come to all the parks in New York City and worldwide. I'm not well, maybe not worldwide, but statewide, like from state to state, and they would ball in the hood. They ball anywhere and everywhere.
That's a fact.
Yeah, and the crowds used to be crazy, and they garnered so much support and love that, when the merch came out, like we mentioned before, you were standing online singing it to models to, to get the merch. So to have Alexis Morris be the first quote unquote lady of N1 is super dope. And she said that her personal mission is to empower women from all demographics, inspire the youth, and continue to break barriers for women in sports and street ball. I always aim to be part of something bigger than myself, and I hope to collaborate with street ball legends like the mixtape OGs and other communities to create the change I would love to see. This is a great opportunity for her to really make her mark on something that's super dope and legendary. And I gotta do my own due diligence to see what N1 is doing now. Like Brittany and I mentioned, I think last pod, those players weren't done right, early on. But hope that that's not the case now. And I'm interested to seeing what they're doing now. I'm very interested to seeing what anyone is doing now.
Yeah, we need to know what the business model is because y'all can't just be one time feeing the athletes now because N1 is an iconic brand. Okay. Definitely gonna need some royalties or something in perpetuity.
Okay.
Okay.
I haven't seen merch or nothing from them in a long time though. So I'm also interested in seeing like what they've been doing.
You know what? Let me say one thing. The only thing that I know that they've been doing. So DA is very obviously I know DA is from Queens. He's very high on this basketball player. His name is Ricky Rue from Queens. And he just signed a shoe deal with N1 not too long ago. So
Okay.
they're moving under the scenes, but we're seeing some traction from N1. So I love this move by making Alexis their first lady.
Okay. I didn't know that. Shouts to Leaky Roof. That's fire. And I'm definitely gonna keep an eye on M1 now. That, like you said, since they got some movement. So shouts to Alexis Morris. This is a big deal. So keep my eye on her too. But we're gonna move on. We're gonna talk about hate. Okay, there's just a lot of hate happening. Yeah, yo, it's hate. It's nasty work too. It's nasty. And so obviously we know that that Toronto just the WNBA has expanded into Toronto. The release happened almost a week and a half ago. And what I personally didn't know until today was that the Knicks and the Raptors, though, on the NBA side, obviously they got beef. Like they got beef. So if y'all don't know why they have beef, the Knicks are currently suing the Raptors, right? And the Knicks are claiming that a former New York video coordinator stole scouting reports, data, and confidential files when he left to work for Toronto. The Knicks allege that once the video coordinator received a job offer from the Raptors, he began secretly forwarding proprietary information from his work email to his personal one, and then he shared it with the Raptors. An additional court complaint accused Raptors' first-year coach of directing the video coordinators to steal the information. So I'm just laying out why they got beef, right? So this happened in 2023. They've still been beefing in court since then. It's 2024. Now let's go back to the WNBA. Obviously, we know that the WNBA has expanded into Toronto, but before the announcement a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, before a WNBA team is announced and everything is finalized, all NBA they need approval from all the NBA owners in addition to his own to expand into, new territory. And the WNBA approved the Toronto team 13-0 at the time. Like, everybody was good to go. While the NBA was 29-1 in favor of having, this WNBA team in Toronto. However, however, nasty James Dolan, Nasty Dolan, who used to own the WNBA's Liberty at one point, as we know, he the one that voted. He didn't vote in favor of them expanding into Toronto. Now, obviously, it could be twofold, right? It could be for two reasons. Obviously, because of the beef, right? The Knicks and the Raptors. But then also, James, you're nasty. You're a hater because how you did the Liberty and how you really viewed it was, operating when it came to just WNBA matters. It can be looked at as you hating on the WNBA once again, another team once again. We know that he nastily neglected the Liberty
He got
throughout
hit
his
in his
tenure.
blood. He got hit in his blood.
Yo, now he gonna have to get it back in play. Like I know he's tight. There's no way, there's no way that he's not second guessing how he did the New York Liberty. Y'all, he look at right. Y'all moved the Liberty from the Garden to Westchester, from the Garden to Westchester, and those conditions were crazy. So yeah, I just wanted to bring this up that James Dolan is a hater. It's nasty work. I'm glad to run to that everything got finalized. But if y'all didn't know that piece of information, we just wanted to share that with y'all. Nasty.
I wish you could out own this because he got to get out there.
He d
James Dolan, he been wilding for years, decades. Okay,
It's just a
decades.
bad business. I just wonder what he's thinking now. I mean, I think he wouldn't probably talk about it. He probably wouldn't keep it above. But the way the WNBA is thriving, he got hate in his blood, and that's nasty work, and I just wanted to call it out. He deserves a nasty award. Maybe we should bring back nasty award winners.
Ooh, I think so.
We should bring back nasty award winners, and if we were to start that today, it would be James Dolan because of this reason. This is disgusting. Should be
Correct.
ashamed of yourself. It's never that deep. And on top of that, y'all been doing business with the Raptors even after y'all, filed this complaint in court. Y'all had mad trades happening since then. So why take it out on the women's league? You're nasty for that. Like you doubling down in your nastiness. Like you're doubling down in the hate. And we just wanted to call it out. James Dolan gets the nasty award for the week. And then lastly, this is breaking news. We see that the NCAA will grant an additional year of eligibility to any D1 student athlete was ruled ineligible to compete for any part of a season during or since the 2019-2020 academic year. So they getting another year? They're gonna be in college forever. If y'all don't see Brittany, she cracking up, y'all. But they're gonna be in school forever. I mean, I'm sick of being. I mean, they're gonna be making maybe NIL bread. They're gonna be doing a lot. So, any thoughts, Brittany?
We got super seniors. But look, this is the normalcy now. It's not normal to stay at a collegiate institution for 4 years now. Even Alexis Morris, she was at 3 different institutions.
That's a fact.
Okay, so that is the normalcy now.
Ooh.
Super seniors.
Yeah, super seniors. Definitely interested in seeing how this affects the transfer portal. We already saw an uptick in the transfer portal numbers this year. There was a lot more, people entering more than ever before. So now with this rule change, I'm expecting the numbers to be record breaking next year because really sky's the limit now. We always talk about now how these players don't have to sit out a year when they transfer. That's another positive. They have the autonomy to kind of move how they want to move as if they were, professional players. And that's where we're at now on the college scene. So yeah, yet another year to capitalize off NIL to get your game right and tight if you plan on playing professionally, to keep massaging relationships that you may have, to get more TV time, I mean, I don't see how this could be a con at all. It's just another option for you. It's just another way. So,
Look, continue to use the resources if you have it. You got another year eligibility, you better use that eligibility. You better use it and use it to your advantage. Okay. I just came across something. There is now currently a Black Student Athlete Summit. Did you know that, Chanteé?
absolutely not.
Yeah. It happened I would probably say this past week or 2 weeks ago, something like that. I just read a small blurb. We'll probably have more information for y'all next
Mm.
episode, but the Black Student Athlete Summit was held at USC this year. And it was, in fact, it's the ninth annual
Oh,
summit. So that's exciting to know that this is where it's going for a while.
wow. Yeah, no, that we'll definitely, look into that, do our due diligence and get back to y'all. But that's what we have for tonight. Definitely covered a lot in a small period of time. But as always, thank y'all for always tapping in with us and listening to anything beyond the 9450, beyond the floor. For the business of sports, we're here with Chanteé and with Brittany. Follow the 9450 on all social media platforms. We're on Twitter. We're on Facebook. We're on IG. We're on Spotify and Apple. Y'all need to subscribe. That's another thing. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Also follow 21 Titles on all social media platforms on IG, Twitter, LinkedIn. Follow us on YouTube. Also, we're gonna be tapping in with some people in our network, and we're gonna be interviewing some athletes turned business owners, which will be a really dope series. So stay tuned for that. And yeah, I think that's really it. We will definitely see y'all next week. Try to stay cool. It's been warm. It's been hot. But anyways, we'll see y'all next week. Peace, y'all.
Peace, y'all.